Good evening, everybody. To all those in India, it's a good evening. To those who are watching us from Europe and the US, it may be morning or afternoon, as the case may be. This is the 27th webinar of the IIT Alumni Center in Bengaluru. Today we have a rather unusual topic. We've had topics that cover multiple things from dark matter and black holes and COVID-19. Today we have something that's somewhat different. The COVID-19 has probably kind of accentuated the need to have more and more online programs that could benefit a larger swath of our student community. And IIT Madras has been a pioneer in making some of this happen. We are privileged to have Professor Bhaskar Ramamurthi to give this talk on creating an online undergraduate program, which he passionately believes can be scaled up significantly in this country for the benefit of all of us. For those who don't know Bhaskar, Bhaskar is a graduate of IIT Madras and did his MS and PhD from UC Santa Barbara, and then came back and joined the faculty of IIT Madras in the mid 1980s. I have had the privilege to work closely with him in my earlier days when I was with Analog Devices, and we did projects that were executed by Bhaskar and his colleagues out of the Tenet group, which is a very pioneering group in this country when it comes to getting technologies to work for India. Needless to say, Bhaskar, recipient of multiple awards, but one trivia, very few people probably know, he's an outstanding Mridangam player, fairly regular, used to be at the Kacheri in Madras, till very recently. I suppose he's still doing it, but he's been a very known face there. With that, Bhaskar, I also want to introduce Sushila, my colleague at the IITACB. So both of us are today moderating this talk. We will have Bhaskar speak for as much time as he would like to, and then take Q&A from the audience. For the attendees, please put your questions in the Q&A box at the bottom right of your screen. Please do not put it in the chat box, because chat boxes are not monitored for Q&A. Only the Q&A boxes are looked at from a question and answer perspective. So please do put it out there. And with all that, Bhaskar, over to you for this talk, and we look forward to hearing more about this program.
Thank you, Ashok, and I'll join you, wishing everybody a good evening, good morning. I hope there are at least a couple of people from Australia or Japan, so good night. And so maybe you can put up the first slide, the cover slide, and then I'll start. So this thinking on how does one scale undergraduate education with quality was not triggered by COVID. This has been something we've been working on for more than almost 2 years now. Ever since the government and in the UGC promulgated gave permission for online degree programs in certain areas. You can't do it in the professional degrees. You can't do it for engineering, medicine, and so on. But you can do it for, conventionally what universities offer, science degrees and arts degrees and so on. So, and then of course the new education policy which came out in this year has really emphasized this as one of the important ways in which we will meet our aggressive higher education GER, gross enrollment ratio target. So, but we had been working on this, and in our thinking on this was triggered by the fact that as the lead institution among the IITs and ISC in the almost 2-decade-old, 1.5-decade-old program called NPTEL, National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning, We started by recording a whole lot of courses, very meticulously done courses, almost 1,000 something, 200, 300, 400 are available on YouTube, free across the world, which cover all areas of engineering, science, and so on, and even some humanities. And then around 2014, we moved to the MOOCs format. We started actually offering courses every semester to students from anywhere in the world, and gave proctored exams at the end of every semester to actually certify students. And that grew enormously. We partnered with engineering colleges. And today some 2,000 odd partner colleges are there. 1.5 million or more students register every semester, and almost 300,000 take the proctored exam. So we had experience in doing this over the last 4 years and scaling it at a scale at which it's not done anywhere else in the world, especially the proctored exam part. And we leverage the fact that in India we are an exam maniacal country. We have this huge infrastructure for conducting exams throughout the year. In this particular case, we leverage the capability of TCS Ion a lot, but there are others also. And you can conduct exams with integrity anytime, anywhere in the country, almost 300 places any time of the year. So these learnings we've been having, and so we've been thinking about how to do this. And then the NEP came along, the UGC regulation came along. COVID has only sort of broken barriers, mental barriers to actually trying it out. It's like a little bit like jumping into the swimming pool to learn swimming. People sort of stand at the edge and keep putting their toes in the water and keep cribbing about the cold and about this and that. But finally, when you're dumped in, a lot of things change. So a little bit like that. And before I proceed, I wanted to acknowledge that all the work, not a lot, all the work on this has been done by my exceptional colleagues, Professor Andrew Tangaraj, Pratap Haridas, Niket Kaisare, and others. And that team, I'm just, sitting at the apex, observing all this and helping them, roll this out. And therefore, I thought I will, take this opportunity to share our learnings as it stands today, and listen to questions that people might have. We, of course, have gone through enormous amount of, questioning and self-questioning and debate within the institute. We had a all-faculty meeting, which was, very, very hot and active. And there's our board of governors and our Senate, and we have gone through multiple, of course, with alumni also in various informal fora, including formal fora, but not a seminar on this or something, but people have asked us a lot of questions. So I hope today will be another forum for getting thoughts of various people on this. So the topic is very simple. Can we actually do an online undergraduate degree, which is of high quality and at scale? And when I say high quality, I mean, we know that in undergraduate education in India today, a lot of undergraduate degrees are not at the quality level we want them to be. So we actually are looking to do something better, not something that will approximately measure up to what they are. In many cases, we think that we can do something that will break the log jam that we have already with regard to quality. Next slide, Kama, Ashok. Yeah, so the NEP targets for higher education, and if you have seen it, are very ambitious. We want to go from the current GER of around 27% to 50% in 15 years. Currently, 3.75 crore, 37 million students are enrolled in colleges in about 40,000 colleges. So you're talking about less than 1,000 students enrolled per college. Okay. So our colleges are all subcritical, and most of them are, and that's for all 3 years. So that's what 250 students a year. Many colleges, that's all they take in. They're smaller than many schools, actually. Schools have about 2,000, good schools have 2,000 students. And there's an estimate that says that actually 67% of our eligible 18 to 23-year-olds, meaning those who have finished class 12, have already enrolled in these colleges. So actually, if you want to go to a GER of 50%, we need a lot more people to finish high school. So that's another problem that I'm not going to discuss that today. So even, assuming that happens, how do we have capacity in higher education institutions for another 3 crore students, out of which some may be already ready to join, because there are about 33% of eligible students who are not joining. Even if half of them are not joining for various reasons, maybe they are ready to join. But assuming that this growth will happen in the next 15 years, how do higher education institutions respond? Next. The current higher education quality, as I already said, is uneven. We have many degree programs that are outdated and unimaginative. Neither do they deliver neither do they deliver any marketable skills. As education programs, they don't look very attractive, and they don't look at useful either as skill development programs. So, question is, what degrees, and how do we get good quality in doing this? Or do we just end up producing, just that many percent, 23% more poorly employable graduates? It's fairly easy to do that, actually. To ask these colleges in the country to double from 1,000 students to 2,000 students or whatever is not a big deal. IITs have doubled with all their emphasis on quality, have doubled or tripled in the last 15 years. So this is not very difficult to do, but this doubling will probably not solve anything. We'll just get more of what we are getting today. And when we could not fix the quality, even when we had the current number of students, how are we going to do it if they double in size? So the thinking has been that we have to disrupt this. We have to somehow come up with a new model that shakes off some of the, well-entrenched problems with our existing. In other parts of the world, brick and mortar education has been done well, at scale, but we have not been able to crack many of these things. And sometimes it's difficult to change straight away entrenched modes of operation. So disruption might be the only way. And there's a cost issue also. Now, to do in this time of the, where the world is at the moment, brick and mortar education is becoming very expensive world over. So cost is a big issue, even if you are able to fix the quality. So can we disrupt both of these things is what we've been thinking about. Next. So, I suppose it goes with the territory where many of us are engineers. We tend to look at things in a systematic framework and as a system. Think of it as a manufacturing line. Students, 3.7 crore students, 3 crore coming out every year. So what happens in this manufacturing line? You have teaching, you have mentoring and tutoring, either formal or informal. You have hands-on skill development. As part of the degree earning process, you learn some skills. More or less depending on the kind of degree and the kind of institution. You have a lot of interactive learning, informal very often with peers. You have evaluation, you have exams, quizzes, tests, marks. And can these be decoupled and diced up, more efficiently, with more flexibility, with higher quality, and driving cost also down. So you can think of it a little bit like the way a industrial engineer would look at a manufacturing process. Can we have horses for courses? Can we have super teachers for the lectures using the online medium to achieve scale? Can we have an army of mentors and tutors who are actually better trained for doing just that, mentoring and tutoring, for hand-holding? This will scale linearly. Obviously, you need more tutors as you have more students. Can we have dedicated distributed labs, workshops, studios, whatever you need across the country, which are just provide, like TCS ION gives a place where you can conduct exams. They don't run education institutions. They don't give exams of their own. But anybody can come there and conduct exams with a certain integrity, with certain quality of facilities, and so on. And can we do the same with labs, for example? Can physics and chemistry labs be available on rent across the country, maintained at a certain quality? And, you can just ask students to turn up there and run experiments. And studios, workshops, so on. Can you have distributed socialization platforms? Interactive learning, peer-to-peer interaction is a very important part of going to college. Clubs, can you have these also set up in a distributed fashion across the country, in every locality? And the people who get together there may not all be part of the same degree program. They don't belong to any institution. They are more geographic. It's more geographical. And, they get together, they do things together. There are mentors there and so on and so forth. So, can we look at a different way of dicing up this and achieve quality also, and actually lower cost by this efficiency? This is typical in manufacturing, right? You have specialization, then you get efficiency. So can we do that? Next slide. So, okay, that's all the theory, right? This is all thinking in abstract. So the way for me, I'm going to go forward is to say that, here's an example which we are attempting. We have sort of jumped into the pool, despite all the questions of how cold is it going to be? Is it going to freeze us? Is it going to damage what we already have? I'm going to give an example to you now that leverages online teaching. for achieving scale with high quality. Combines both online and face-to-face mentoring, tutoring. In a discipline where hands-on skills can also be learned online. So we've sort of made it a little easier for ourselves. This is a discipline where you don't need labs and workshops and studios, because whatever online skills you need to learn whatever skills you need to learn can be done online. And it leverages the 300 plus dedicated online exam centers of TCS ION throughout the country, and there are others, exam centers. This is something that's now a done deal in India. We do JEE. If we can do advanced JEE anywhere, we can do anything. Okay, so, and we did advanced JEE during COVID, so you can assume that this is a done deal. Next. So this is the example, right? We are running an online BSc programming. Note that it's BSc in confirmation. First of all, it makes sense, as you can see when we talk about the curriculum, but it also conforms to the UGC regulations. It's a BSc in programming and data science. And it's offered by IIT Madras starting this year. This has nothing to do with COVID. A lot of people think it's some quick reaction due to COVID, but it's actually been in the works for almost a year and a half now or more. Anybody who has finished 12th standard is eligible. In fact, they should have done, I think there are more details in another slide. But we want to manage expectations. This is an IIT degree. We want to manage expectations. So we don't want somebody to drop everything and just join this. And then once they find the quality norms are squeezing them out, go running to the uncle and saying, no, we didn't know that. Now we are on the street. We don't have anything. We didn't go to college. A little worried about, because no matter what you write, no matter how much you present data or information on the website and so on, we have to make sure expectations are set right. So initially we prefer students who are registered in a full-time degree course somewhere and uses a second degree, or we have said you must have dropped out of school for some reason, dropped out of not joined college or dropped out of college at least 2 years. Just trying to initially avoid people directly going from school to this without going for anything else, just to manage the expectation. Because as you'll see later, there's going to be a fair amount of filtering and people will be removed. People will have to exit the system, and we are worried about expectations. The normal IIT entrance model is being completely inverted here. The normal IIT entrance model is you make people go through this Agni Pariksha, and then whoever gets through, the small number, 15,000 people out of so many lakhs, you anoint them, and more or less all of them will get their degrees, right? IIT system helps them a lot, and even the ones who are struggling, and everybody gets a degree pretty much. So this is inverted. Everyone can try. There are qualifying norms. I'll come to that. And there are filters at multiple stages right through the program. And only those who can measure up at every stage can go all the way to the degree. Our aim is very clear. The graduate coming out of this will be worthy of an IIT degree, no doubt about it. We're not trying to do something which is half and half. And there are others who cannot make it to the end gate, will exit at various stages with certificates and diplomas, which we think will have value. Next slide. So if you know, the NEP actually talks about this kind of multiple exit programs and so on. We had sort of started on this a year before the NEP came out, and we're very happy to see the NEP pretty much advocating almost everything that we are doing. Next. So this is sort of the flow chart. You enter at 10+2. We have an eligibility check. I think it's there in another slide, but let me tell you, you have to have done English up to 10th, maths up to 10th, and you have to have done English also up to 10th, I think. +2 can be pretty much in any subject. Year 1, what we call year 1, so this is a way of understanding the curriculum, but people can pace this at their own speed. Okay, so, think of these years more in terms of the curriculum. People can pace themselves at whatever speed they want. So the year 1 is mostly foundational, English, maths, statistics, programming. And there are proctored qualifying exam. There'll be more on this a little later, which happens within a month. And there are proctored quizzes right through for all the subjects, just as we do for NPTEL, we don't do quizzes. We only have an end semester. Here, there are going to be quizzes, 2 in each subject. You can also enter laterally, avoid year 1 by just doing the proctored exams at the end. There are many people who they can do the exams and show that they know the stuff because they've done the courses elsewhere. We'll allow them to enter and do the rest of it in 2 years. You can also exit at this stage if you're not up to the mark, and you get a course certificate. There's no diploma or degree, but you get a certificate from IIT saying you've done these courses and this is the performance. Year 2 is has a lot of courses, some foundational computer science courses, but a lot of skills-based courses. There's going to be 3 proctored quizzes and exam, and there's going to be a lot of mentoring. And at the end of this, if you get through the proctored exams, you can exit with diplomas. 2 diplomas are possible, one in programming and one in data science, either one or both. And again, as I said, this need not happen in 2 years. This could happen in 3 years. Year 2 is a way of understanding the curriculum in a typical college format, 9 to 5 college format. Then year 3, you continue, if you manage to continue, and you'll see the performance thresholds. Then you do core courses, elective courses, and so on. Again, there are quizzes and exams. And in the final, if you finish all these requirements, you earn all the credits, then you can get a PhD. Okay. Again, as I repeat, you don't have to do it in 3 years. Next. Now you go to the next slide. This is not a fully online program. It has, in sense of, 1 to very large number and very little contact with the teachers or teach proxies for teachers. This program envisages a lot of mentoring and tutoring. There'll be qualified mentors selected through a rigorous process and trained. 1 mentor per 200 students per course for the second year courses. The first year courses don't require that much mentoring, and for some of the third year courses. So, this, you can think of a mentor working 9 to 5. If the person does, 12 or 15, 12 or something, 15 mentoring sessions during the week, about three per day or 4 per day, each one with about 15 students online per course, spend an hour and a half with the students, walking them through the material of that week. That's the kind of mentoring we're talking about. They know them individually, help them out, talk to them, interact with them. This is online. They will also score the student submissions and any recordings that the student do of their work. And the other thing they will do is, when we meet every month for the proctored quiz, pretty much if you want to have 2 quizzes or 3 quizzes during the semester, you'll be meeting them every month at the exam centers. The quizzes won't take more than, if you're taking 3 or 4 subjects, even if you're taking 4 subjects, the quizzes won't take more than 3 hours, probably the morning session or something. Then you have the afternoon. So you just, you have a face-to-face session with all your mentees, maybe 200 of them in a course, in each course, 1 hour. In that center, with all of them sitting in front of their computers, you can actually do some live programming sessions, live skill building sessions, it's like a regular class. So you actually meet them once a month. In addition, you meet them online. So there is a lot of, the kind of stuff that you get in a high quality face-to-face undergraduate program. You get a lot of that here. And we probably might end up doing it better actually, because of the very careful control of the scaling. So this is the plan. Okay, next slide. Yeah, so this semester is in quotes here because, as I said, you don't have to do all these courses in one semester, except the first semester. The first semester, because as you'll see later, the qualifier involves actually showing that you can do 4 of these courses and cope. So in the first semester, you have to do all the 4. But after that, you can pace yourself. And the first year, semester 1 and 2, as you can see, is just English, math, statistics, and programming. They're all continuously. There are also some skill building, soft skill, and other stuff, which will come later. Which will then another slide. But it's not only these, credit-based courses. Semester 3 and 4 are the ones leading to the diplomas. There are some basic courses like programming, data structures, and so on, algorithms. But you can see there's a lot of skill-based courses, and these are in semester 3 and 4. Semester 5 and 6 I'll come to later. What are the choices, what are the cores, what are the electives, and so on. But it's typical of any degree program in any university. You'll see that. So the credits that you have to earn are very similar to what you have in any degree program in any university in the world. And we have an advisory group of people from industry who are working with us continuously on a interactive feedback basis, work on the curriculum, and later we will involve them when we are mentoring, because we really have to learn everything here. There are a lot of surprises that are going to come up. So we are working with them. And our idea is that ultimately we should be able to place these students also. Next slide. Yeah, so the diploma has September, the semester 3 and 4 I already described in the previous slide. You can get a diploma in programming, you can get a diploma in data science. The color code is there. You can do them you can do them over a 2-year period. Take it slower. You can just first get the diploma in programming, then the diploma in data science, whatever. So the semester 3 and 4 is just notional. Next. The year 3 courses are organized, there are sort of 3 streams of core courses. You have to choose, one such stream, either option 1 or 2 or 3. They sort of group together to make some coherence, to bring some coherence. And then the elective courses, there are a few listed here. There'll be more, but any of the other core courses are electives also. In addition, there are more electives. And then you can also transfer some elective credits from the huge NPTEL MOOCs program that we run every semester, almost a few hundred, 300-400 courses. So you can also do that. And all the time, these skills courses are also there. Some are listed on the side. There are many related to soft skills, management, project management, and other stuff. We've got a lot of input from industry on what is needed. Okay, some of these are not even being done even in the IITs that well at scale, because doing this, we have never attempted to do this at scale, even on the face-to-face programs. We do some of this informally, but not in a very carefully curated fashion. Next slide. So the entry and qualifying process is very important. So of course we check out whether they finished the 10+2, with the math and English at 10th and so on, and the current extra conditions to manage expectations. Ultimately, we should be able to allow anybody who's finished these +2 and 10th with these to join. The qualifying process is that they must do the first 4 weeks of the first semester courses, all 4 of them. There are 3 online assignments in each course. They have to submit them. Of course, they could be getting help. We don't know about it. But they have to submit them. They have to be able to show that they can attend all these classes. They can submit these assignments, and they can maintain the pace. And then after 1 month, there is a qualifying exam, proctored exam. You must get 40% of the assignments, which I presume most of them will get. But you must get 50% in the quiz 1. If you can't clear 50% of the quiz 1 in all the 4 subjects, then you can't qualify. Okay, we take almost no money for the first month, so nobody can complain. So this is some sort of an entrance exam, very, very light entrance exam, just to weed out people whom we think will not be able to, almost with negligible probability, can manage the rest. Okay, next. Otherwise, all courses run for 12 weeks. The content, is typical like any MOOCs. You can read it up later. I'm not going into detail. There are 3 quizzes, as I said, at the end of weeks 5, 8, and 11. It's like the old IIT model, IIT Madras model. You can miss 1 quiz if you want. The best 2 scores are used. No makeups and all will be offered. If you fall ill or whatever reason, you have to manage with 2 of these 3. The quizzes are proctored and in person. The quiz scores account for 40% of the total marks. Online assignments, we may give some weightage, 0, 5, 10%. It's a discussion of the faculty. It depends, because we are not sure about the integrity of this. So we don't know what faculty will do, but we're not ruling it out. Some small weightage can be given. We want to give some freedom to the faculty member to decide. The end semester exam will have at least, we'll have 60% of the total score. Next. Yeah, so you can see here that there is a grading system like in any good IA institution. And, the grading system here is actually, you have to achieve certain minimum performance in both the proctored quizzes and the end semester. You can't, really do well only in one and not well in the other. And pretty much if you can't get 50% in the quizzes and at least 40% in the end semester, one of these 2, then you have to repeat the course. If you get the 50% and you don't get 40% in the end semester, you can, of course, to get a grade, because you can see you have to get between, above 50% in the end semester and get above 40% in the end semester. Above 50% in the quizzes and above 40% in the end semester to get any of the grades. Now, if you get the 50% in the quizzes but don't have the end semester, you can write the end semester alone again. And after that, depending on your performance, you get various grades. You can see that this is not going to be easy, and the exams are not going to be. They're going to be exams like what we expect from a person who really knows the subject reasonably well. And so our aim is very clear. This person comes out with a degree from IIT, it must mean something. And so that's what it is. Okay, next. Yeah, they're actually going to be, this semester, as I said, is notional, and they're actually going to be 3 terms in a calendar year. People who work in this program are going to be working throughout the year like any other employee in any other institution. And there's going to be, you can take courses in any of those 3 terms. As I said, except for the first term courses, which you have to do all 4, you can reduce the load if you're doing something else also. If you're working, if you're taking another degree program, you can pace yourself out. And to enter into the diploma programs, you have to finish everything in semester 1 and 2, unless you're entering laterally. And if you enter into the degree program, you must finish everything in semesters 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. In the degree program, we'll offer mentoring and tutoring only for the core courses. Electives will not have it. Next. Fee structure. So we have set the fees comparable to any good city college in any of our cities in India, which offers a good vanilla BSc program. The first year fees have been kept low because it's not evenly, the fees are not evenly divided among the 3 years. The entry fee is very, very low. It's just to manage our costs. And the first year fees are kept low to enable students to try out the program because they'll get only a certificate. And after that, it's all given there. There are scholarships. We have, many companies are willing to come forward with CSR support for this. So we are getting good support already for scholarships for disadvantaged students. The finances are such that this will be completely self-supporting program of the institute. In fact, if it does well, we'll even get some revenue. The faculty do this as extra work over their regular load. So they will get paid separately for it. And next slide. Main cost is actually the mentors, as you can imagine, because the mentors grows linearly with students. The faculty involvement is primarily for the content creation, and anything else is based on their interest. You need about 1 to 3 faculty for each course. This is the one that scales non-linearly. So you don't need too many faculty in this to work in this. We expect not more than 15-20 of our faculty to be involved with this. They are very passionate about this. And then the other 15-20 we have adjunct faculty from other institutions who are very keen, from other IITs and from industry and so on. Each faculty will be assigned 2 or 3 TAs to assist them in their work. This is not the mentors. And we will provide all the support necessary for them to create the content and so on, professional teams. There will be some direct faculty interaction with students, but this is going to be a large scale. So and there will be some discussion forum assisted, with the TAs and so on. But finally, it's the mentors who are really going to reach out. And the faculty actually will organize the training and the review of the mentors. So the mentors will be told very clearly what they have to execute by each faculty member. Okay. And there'll be a support team for the mentors to ensure that they can do this. Next. So placement, we are working very closely with industry in the curriculum development, in the core teaching, and actually in babysitting watching this program as it evolves to catch early any issues that may develop. The mentors are going to be drawn from industry, academia, and recent graduates. Actually, we have been surprised by the number of recent masters and MS and PhD students of ours who have applied this year. We didn't expect that. The compensation is very competitive. This is of course be dependent on the subject. It's very competitive. We expect to be able to draw the best people at that level, at the level at which they need to be to do the mentoring well. And we expect to offer internships in industry after year 2. We are looking to actually industry to come and want to grab these people. That's really the situation where we want, leading to placement after graduation. Okay. Next. Actually, after the diploma, there's nothing preventing industry from even employing them if they're not in any other full-time degree program, and letting them finish their degree after that. All these models are likely to happen if we really do a good job. So what is the data as of now? We just started it. We started a little late. July launch was in terms of putting the information out, but we were watching COVID because we have to conduct the proctored quiz and, but finally we did actually launch the classes a couple of weeks back. We received about 30,000 applications and 4 weeks of content have been shared, and only 2/3 of these 30,000 have actually about 100 in nearly 100 in the Middle East who have qualified to write the qualifying exam, in terms of having submitted the assignments, and the exams are going to be held 15 days from now. So we're assuming that in the next week, not many will goof off and will submit their assignments. Just some basic stats, early stats, 40% of these qualified students are from engineering. They're doing engineering degrees elsewhere. 25% are women. 75% have completed school before 2020, meaning they're not from the fresh grad. This year's schooling results and all have been so, delayed and so on. So we didn't get too many people who are from this year's batch. And 15% are above 30 years. Most of them are still doing their degrees in various colleges. We should have got more granular age information, but I don't have it. And we have students from all states and union territories, at least in double digits, even from the smaller northeastern states. And 50%, of course, as expected, are from the southern states and Maharashtra out of this 20,000. Next. So questions that have been asked, why should we do this? Right? We have a brand, we have something going well. Why do you want to do this? So the scenario is leading universities in the world are beginning to do this for various reasons. So we have to ask, why are other people doing it and why should we not do it? What are the advantages in doing it rather? The government target is also there. We are a public institution. We have some commitment to help the country achieve its targets. And we have a role as leaders in education. We should be discovering how a high quality online degree program can be run at scale, which is the topic of my talk today. We have to discover it. Who else is going to discover this if it can be done? Will it affect our other objectives and our goals, which you already have as an IIT? No, we have made sure of that. So the most important question that most people ask, or faculty ask, and our alumni actually ask us a lot of this, is, what about brand dilution? So we are experimenting and learning. So obviously you're taking a risk. People who are into brands in consumer market know about this and they know how to do this. So we're also doing that in a very similar way. We have significant differentiation of our online on-campus programs, the well-established programs on which we have a brand. We have significant differentiation of that from this program as a safeguard. And we aim to do this well. Actually, we want this also to add to our brand, not be an also ran. And we actually want to strengthen our brand diversity. We want to be able to say that in addition to our flagship programs, we also, do quality at scale. How will we handle expectations? I've already talked about this. We've tried to be as clear in our communication as possible, but we've also been a little cautious because this is India and we don't want people saying we thought something else and so on. And we have tried to give multiple exits so that people can go out with something in their hands. Next. What are the metrics of success? How do we measure? So one metric is placement in this kind of a program. This is not a general education program. This has a directly marketable skills. So we want to target a median salary of at least 3 to 4 lakhs. In fact, we've been told by industry that if people come out with the quality that they are looking for, they can easily get more than this. We want it to be higher than a vanilla BE from a tier 2 college, from a good tier 2 college where people get placed easily. We want to identify top performers and enable more opportunities for them. Maybe create a 4th year honors program that will enable them to go into university for masters and PhD. Our preliminary discussions with potential employers, in fact, detailed discussions, not just preliminary, is very positive. And we are actually involving them pretty heavily in monitoring this. How will we handle the numbers? This 20,000 that we are now having to handle is easy for us. We are doing 300,000 every semester in the NPTEL program. And that doesn't have the mentoring because that the colleges are supposed to do. So that's the new part which we have to get right. Malpractice detection, etc. I think the methodology in these exam centers is well set. As you know, JEE Main, JEE Advanced, everything NEET, everything is done there. And we know how to do this. We'll also have dedicated exam representatives of ours in addition to whatever TCS does and so on. We'll keep learning and adapting. Okay. So it's a great opportunity for a big impact program that can create a new paradigm in our country and help meet part of the GER goal, not just in numbers, but in quality, and really may shake off some of the unshakable problems that we are having with our undergraduate education at scale. It's a challenge that we can put our heads together and I think we can meet. I think that's all there is to it. It's the last slide. Yeah. I hope I finished it in the time that I'd set for myself. Yes. I'm open for questions.
Sushila, do you want to start? Okay, Bhaskar. So I have a key question. We follow this National Institutional Ranking Framework, the NIRF ranking.
Yeah.
Where I think IIT Madras is #1 at this point, and followed by IISc and a couple of other IITs. Yeah. Right? And they have this criterion where teaching, learning, and resources get 30% weightage. Research gets another 30%, graduation outcomes get 20%, perception gets 10%, and I think outreach gets 10%. Uh, Once you bring in a program like this that is more online and you're trying to do this at scale, do you see that we need to look to modify the NIRF criterion over
Yeah,
time?
at the moment, I think NIRF doesn't. I don't think NIRF would want us to include the online students in our students total. But yes, these will I'm sure it has to be modified. If we start doing completely at scale, if we start doing completely new teaching paradigms, of course, and you have to evaluate those also, right? So that will have to come. I'm sure about it. But at the moment, I think initial couple of years, I don't think they will allow us, or we don't want to also include these. We already have some 500 students whom we are doing web-enabled online teaching at the master's level. This is actually live classes that are being held. We don't include them in this tally for NIRF. So I think NIRF will have to. I agree with you. Metrics will have to be changed. If you're doing something that's important, it has to be measured. So we'll have to do that. But the NIRF will have to do that. I mean, but I think at the moment, next 2 years, I don't see them doing it. But it will happen.
Okay. So there was one question from I recognize the name. He was my batchmate from the US. He says, how do you deal with labs and other hands-on activities in online learning?
Yeah, so I briefly talked about it. So the first few theory slides were meant to get you thinking, and maybe some of you can start new initiatives. Since you asked the question, I'll tell you about it.
The person who asked is a faculty member at a university in the US.
So so he's in the US. I don't know how easily doable here, but you can imagine in the Indian context, just as TCS has set up 300 exam centers. In fact, I had thought about this 10 years ago, even for our colleges to help them. You can think of a business model where you set up these workshops, labs, throughout the country, which can be used, scheduled, and you can buy time there 24/7 all days, and you can schedule activity. So any entity that is running a program that requires physics lab to be run, for example, you can. In fact, many of the underutilized, poorly run physics labs in many colleges can be upgraded, and this can become a business model for them. So you can actually create these all over the country, and people, for example, if IIT Madras is running a really good physics online program, or IIT, just any other institution, why I don't want to necessarily imply IIT Madras, and they had to run labs all over the country, maybe they can schedule time, on a Saturday or an evening or something, and students go there and do the lab. And the lab, the people who are the business that is running these labs may have to have well-trained, qualified lab technicians who can assist. They may or may not provide faculty level help for the students. Maybe that can be done by the entity that is buying time there. Maybe they'll send them physically, maybe they won't, maybe it'll be online for that part. I mean, there are things to be worked out, but fundamentally, there's no reason that TCS ION model for exams, which doesn't exist in the US, cannot be duplicated for other services.
So it's an interesting thing there, Bhaskar, because in the attendees today, we have directors of a couple of other IITs who are listening to this conversation. So there could be potentially a situation where you create, the IITs collectively create a network of these labs, and that you're saying you can.
I mean, the IITs could do it, yeah. But it is not only the IITs. I think this is almost waiting to happen. I mean, I thought of this a few years ago in the context of our skill development education. How do you teach? We have this startup that does simulated welding training, which you can do online. Up to 80% of the training you can do there. Then you need to do the real welding. So how do you create those kind of centers throughout the country? So this model can be used actually. It's not very difficult. And we have so much underutilized capacity in the country because the regulatory bodies, all they have ensured until now is that everybody has so many square feet of space and so many lab tables and so many burettes and so many pipettes and all that. So that's a starting point. You can go there and then add the quality and make it a business proposition and maintained well and run well.
So there's one gentleman who's saying, is it an IIT Madras degree and is it recognized by the UGC?
Yes, it's an IIT Madras degree and it is recognized because now the UGC norms are very clear. Though we are not bound by UGC. IIT can create this degree, and Act of Parliament says we can create any degree. But we are actually, ultimately in India, the job providers must recognize it. Higher degree institutions must recognize it. So the UGC norms already allows any university to do what we are doing. So it's an IIT Madras degree and it's recognized.
So I think looking at some of the questions there, what I think is seeing a common thread is that there's a lack of quality. You know, if you look at tier 2, 3, 4 and all that, there's a lack of quality faculty and teachers and TAs and so on and so forth, right? So how do you propose to build a large cadre? I can understand that the teachers who deliver, you don't require many, but over time you will require more TAs and mentors. How do we go about building such a large cadre over time?
So you have to ask yourself, the key question you have to ask yourself is, what are you expecting of the teacher in a tier 2, tier 3 college? By the way, I want to preface this by saying that from our, one of the things we have as a access to is very deep information about the quality of the colleges through our NPTEL program, because we partner with 2000 of them. So it's not correct to say that they're all bad. I mean, there are a good number which are doing a good job. Okay. But certainly there are many who are not. Okay. So, and many of them are dying now, but there are many who are not dying who are still not doing good enough job. So the point is, that's, I had one point in an earlier slide. That's why I think those theory slides, domain are important to go over slowly. So today you expect this teacher, and this is true in any institution anywhere in the world, including the IIT and including these tier 2 colleges. We expect the teacher to be good mentor, good examiner, good, everything. All those things that you have to do in the assembly line, you want this person to do. What we are saying is, let the good teaching be done by the few who need, and fortunately you don't need a large number because of the online mode. And the fine tuning of the online mode that we have been able to do over the last few years. We know how to do it, how to split it up into small 30-hour segments and all 30-minute segments and so on. The mentoring and tutoring, is actually can be done better by, we believe, by these people themselves. Some of these people who are employed in these colleges, if they were repositioned as mentors or tutors, because it's a very well curated thing. The faculty member will work with the mentors. If you want to reach, if a faculty member wants to reach 20,000 students, he has to work with 20,000 divided by 200, 100 mentors, which is not a very, you run classes for 100 students anyway, right? So you have to work with them and tell them exactly what they have to do. You have to go over the thing with them and tell them exactly what they have to do. So I think it's doable. And secondly, if you do the numbers, it turns out that you can pay these people much better than these colleges are able to pay them for being this wonderful one man or one lady who can do all these things. We actually can pay them much better to do just one thing, which is mentoring and tutoring. And we actually think that other people are going to come and take these jobs, and not the poor. These college teachers are not going to have the option. They'll have to compete. So this is, I don't think, if we do that, I think it's an interesting exercise for people who want to do it. Go through some of my earlier slides and start doing your own numbers. You'll discover new things.
Okay. I think inevitable question, will the reservation policy be applied?
So the rules are very clear, right? We are allowing anybody to join. So there's no need for reservation.
Okay.
Okay. Because there's no shortage of seats.
Okay.
Okay. However, we are being very careful, and we are making sure that the fees for reserved categories are lower. And we are also working to get enough scholarships so that nobody who is in need, who is financially in need, is who wants to do this, cannot do it. That should be the model we should go forward. And I don't think there's any difficulty in getting the kind of, if we do this program well, I think getting scholarship support for the poor students is going to be a no-brainer. Okay. But there is no need for reservation because the law is very clear on that. It's only when you have a limited number of seats for which people are competing that you have to have reservation.
True. Again, question most likely from an alumnus somewhere. Are we not diluting the IIT standards?
I think I covered that, because that's a question that was asked by my faculty in our hot faculty meeting. Many alumni have asked this. So I think.
Let me just finish this. It says, we do conduct a highly competitive JEE, so why cannot this be made part of the regular undergraduate admission process via JEE?
Yeah. So all I'm saying is that the JEE is one way of doing it. You are setting, on a curve, you are setting yourself at a point where the probability of getting a student who cannot cope is very, very low. And you're probably missing a lot of students who can cope because of, it's a probabilistic game. In one exam, you're trying to figure out something. And so you're setting your threshold very low. Plus, your resources required to produce every graduate is so high that you can't produce more than a certain number. Now, this is a different game where we are trying to scale and setting the probability much higher, letting people try, giving them multiple exits. and but may ensure that whoever comes out with the degree still is worthy of an IIT degree. Regarding brand, so this is an experiment we are doing, so we can make mistakes. So to safeguard ourselves, there is a sufficient differentiation of the offering so that the brand dilution will not occur. What's the worst that can happen? Let's say it doesn't work out for some reason and this degree doesn't work out well. Well, it will be a program that will be wound down. It has no impact on our BTech program, okay, or on the degree. So I think, but I don't think that's going to happen. Already I'm seeing that this is going to be a success. So it'll just be two different things that we do, both very well, and one at scale. And if our filtering process is good, and if the employers and the higher education institutions find out that the people coming out of this program are really good, and there are larger numbers, I mean, that will be the best thing we can ever do, right? Because we'd have beaten the problem of that low probability threshold that we are putting on the JEE type of approach, and solving the resource of problem. I'm telling you that I don't want to do the numbers in public, but I'm telling you, not only is this zero cost to the government, this can actually bring in revenue to the institute at those kind of fees, which you have to pay anyway if you want to do a reasonable degree today.
There's a question that says that programs like this in computer science and IT disciplines is fine, so, because you don't need labs. This gentleman is inviting your views on scaling up this kind of model to other engineering disciplines.
You can do it. Now, engineering, I would wait a little, but at least physics, chemistry, it's easy. You can set these labs up and you can do the same thing. Okay. But engineering also you can do, but there I think we need another COVID-like mind-changing thing, because people think engineering means somehow you have to do it in a institution which has large workshops. So it's going to require a mindset change. But actually, I believe that many branches of engineering can also, you need the hands-on training. As I said, you need those facilities. You need students to be able to go to those workshops and labs and so on. But there's no reason why you should all have everything in one place and done by one institution. But that will come later. I think, in any case, half the jobs in engineering are today in computer science. So this is fine. We are already tackling half the problem. So,
yeah. So I think a lot will hinge on the quality of mentors.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. So what are you going to do, or what are you doing to make sure that that quality is maintained?
So our proposition is that they are there. If the job is made attractive, there's a good career prospect in this. And if the compensation is good, we'll be able to get them. So there are 2-3 sources. Actually, we didn't expect so many youngsters to apply as have happened, as we have discovered. But we knew that there are people from industry. In fact, we have done a fair amount of training, and because you notice that a lot of the mentoring is in the second year program, which is a lot of skill-based programs, a lot of training, hands-on, programming and skills and other skills programs. There are lots of people in industry who have done this in the industry at scale and face-to-face. And there are many of them are, you know what's happening in the IT industry. Many of them are available. We therefore are banking on that. But it turns out that we are surprised at the number of youngsters who are keen to, and we've talked to some of them who applied. They're not coming for this as a stopgap. For some reason, they think this could be an attractive proposition. And the kind of compensations we have worked out in future in the roadmap, this can be a career. If somebody is really good, then, the mentorship, if this thing scales and you're talking about 100,000 students and so on, the mentorship organization itself will have an organizational structure. There'll be a head mentor, there'll be a chief who's, you're like any marketing, like any sales organization. So you got to have people who manage the mentors. You got to have all that. You'll have a career path. You'll have people who can climb up and go from being the mentor to a, mentor lead, and then a, person who pushes buttons, managing all these mentors, managing recruitment, managing compensation, managing career paths. You can have the same structure here. These are people who work 9 to 5, 65 days a week, 6 days a week, whatever, 8 to 5, and some of the work can be done from home also, that we learned from COVID. So you don't need to build huge buildings and you don't need to have buses bussing them in. That's something we learned in the last few months. Earlier, we thought we'll need that. In fact, we started thinking about where to set that up. But now we think that, yes, the mentors will have to come in and go, but they don't have to necessarily come in every day. They will be set up. They will be all over the country. We're also looking to thinking that if we succeed, other institutions will do the same, and ultimately it may become somewhat geographical. But if it doesn't, and we are doing it nationally also, we are ready for it.
So what's the ratio of mentors to students that you...
I mentioned it, no? There are per course 200 students per mentor. So think of yourself as a mentor. You will be talking to groups of 15 students 12 to 13, 14 times a week. That means that's like 3 or 4 a day, which is not a very large load. I mean, you'll have a mentorship, say 1 hour mentorship session 3 times a day with gaps in between where you do all the back office work for that group, noting down all their performance, maintaining records of the students. So I will come in the morning, or maybe some of these will be in the evening because they may be doing other colleges, whatever. So I'll be sitting with 15 students on a Zoom call like this, mentoring them. An hour later, the mentoring is over. Then I'll maintain some records of what I learned about them, what they learned. I'll do all that. Then an hour later, I'll have the second mentoring session. Then I'll have lunch. Then or dinner, whatever. Then I'll have the third mentoring session. Like this, 5 times, 6 times a week. This is mentoring. This is the mentor's job. And then once a month, I'll go to the exam center and I'll conduct a face-to-face in my subject with the 200 students whom I mentor. In the large exam hall, they're all sitting in front of the computer. I talk to them about something which I said I will do on this next face-to-face meeting, and we all do it together and we learn. And then, there'll be a similar mentor for every subject that the student is doing from a student's point of view.
So the next question I suspect will vary subject to subject, but what percentage is quote unquote listening to a lecture? What percentage is talking to a tutor?
No, there'll be that content, lecture content will be there every week, right? Be uploaded, whatever the 2.5 hours or whatever.
What percentage of the overall program would that be?
Pardon?
What percentage of the overall program would that be?
No, every course will have the 2.5 hours or 3 hours of lectures every week.
Okay.
Then mentoring is separate.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like a tutorial session, right? So from a student's point of view, if I've registered for a course, I will get 2.5 to 3. I think it's mentioned somewhere. So many hours of content every week. So I think 5 or 6 modules of 30 minutes each. I'll have to listen to them. I'll have to submit assignments, and there'll be one mentoring session of 1 hour or 1.5 hours in that subject every week. So I'll have to set aside some. We expect every student to have to work at least 20 to 30 hours, depending on the number of subjects they do. This is not light work.
Okay. All right. So, is there any small percentage of face-to-face contacts?
That's what I said. No, the mentor will have face-to-face with the student every month.
Okay, he will have.
Yeah, because he goes to the exam center.
Yeah.
And after the exams, there is still 3. We rent the center for the whole day. So after the exam, after lunch, you still have 3 hours left.
Right.
So you have 3 subjects, let us say, for the student's point of view. So he sits in 3 sessions with his mentor physically.
So I assume that once you get this degree, BSc in data sciences from IIT Madras, one could apply through GATE and so on and so forth.
So that's where we are. Normally India has this funny 3-year, 4-year. I mean, many universities abroad also have this. So this is a 3-year science program, BSc program, but India still has 3-year degrees. Because the NEP now says we must have 4-year undergraduate degrees. So as of now, this is a 3-year undergraduate degree in keeping with the current norm. So we are thinking that we have not worked it out yet. We are thinking of adding a 4th-year honors program. Once you do that, you will be eligible for GATE and everything. Otherwise, GATE will not allow you to take.
Okay. All right.
I mean, even if an institution is willing to accept a person, okay, you will not. Somebody with a 3-year degree cannot join a MTech program or an MS program. That's the rule today.
True.
Okay. So those things you have to worry about. So we are thinking of creating an honors program of a 4th year. Okay.
So what are the, so a question here is, what are the qualifying exam for mentors to check their quality?
No, mentors recruitment is like any other recruitment. I've not talked to my colleagues. They've already started doing this recruitment. I've not had a chat with them on what they're doing, but they'll be looking at their knowledge of the subject, their ability to communicate. I mean, it'll be like any other. You run a company, you know how to recruit people. It'll be like that. It's a job. Right. So there'll be there's a clear job description. You have to communicate to students. You have to have patience. You have to have clear communication skills. You must know your subject. You'll be trained, of course. You not come with. There may be a lot of things that you don't know. The nuances of finance, the finite details of how to handle students and so on. You'll be trained. There are people who know how to train. You run faculty. You can run mentor development programs and train people what to say, what not to say, how to do it, how to note for signs of understanding, signs of not understanding, whatever. All these things you can train people. And ultimately, we expect this to become a highly skilled affair in which you can grow in your career.
Okay. All right. I think a few more questions.
We are talking about, let me tell you, just to give you, we are talking about absolutely comparable compensation to industry. Okay. In fact, today no faculty member in any tier 2 college can even hope that. Okay.
Presumably, all these students will be provided an opportunity for campus placements.
No, it is what we'll do placement like this. I mean, it can't be campus placement, right? Companies won't come here, but see the way we are working with these companies, we are hoping to get them internships and so on. There'll be a placement. I mean, they'll go for placement. Placement is not, you can take a hotel and run the placement. How does it matter where you run it? I mean, so.
No. When I say campus placements, is like how they come for BTech, you know.
Yeah, but I'm saying here the numbers are going to be large. So we may have to. In fact, I think convocation has to be done in a stadium. We'll do it IPL style. That's the next video that I'm looking for. I won't be around, but the director then will get a chance to do.
Yeah. So, of course, your most recent one went viral in a big way. You know?
Yeah, I'm saying. But just think of the convocation. This is to 20,000 students. Let's say even 10% get the degree. Just that's 2,000 students getting a degree. Today we give 1,000 undergraduate students a degree. Okay, so this is just to, just look at just the first set of numbers. 10% going through is going to see 2,000.
And one, I think, from Anand Krishna, I think if I know this person, he's IIT Madras, asking, many global universities offer online degrees, have a nitpicking problem. And the nitpicking problem is, are the online graduates full status alumni?
Yeah, so some of our alumni were very possessive about their alumni status have asked this question.
Yeah.
We are very clear. If they get a degree from IIT Madras, they'll be alumni.
Okay.
Status is for you to have in your mind. You don't.
Yeah, so
we hope that they will. We hope that it will become the other way around. That people will want to be seen with them.
I think. Well, there are some very, very tangential things. Somebody's asking, should mentors have PhD degrees like regular faculty?
They need not. Well, again, it's a job description thing. I mean, frankly, I don't think PhD degrees are required. But we are surprised some PhDs are applying. But it's something that you need to be able to do well. You need to be able to execute what the faculty member wants. Obviously, you need domain understanding, but you need many other things, and that's what's going to matter, not degrees. I mean, certainly it cannot be it has to be a degree holder, but I can imagine a very good bachelor's degree holder with a lot of experience doing it also. I don't see why not.
Sheila, do you have anything?
No, I'm okay. I think pretty much the questions have been asked in the Q&A.
You want to wrap up?
Sure. Thank you. So thank you very much, Bhaskar. This was...
Thank you, Sushil. Thank you, Ashok. I hope it was useful. We are excited about it because there's a lot of interesting new learnings, new things we are doing. It's entrepreneurial. It's a startup kind of thing.
Yes.
The people who are doing it are really, Andrew and all these people, Pratap, all alumni of the institute. Niket is not an alumni of IIT Madras, but maybe he is. They are totally driven by this, and it's huge. Really fantastic effort is going on. Okay.
Yeah.
We've been seeing a lot of innovations in the various IITs in various different ways. We heard, for example, about the Bharat Darshan concept that IIT Guwahati has.
Yeah.
We've looked at the various centers like the Center for Assistive Technology or Centers for Flexible Electronics. So we've looked at so many of these innovations that are taking place, both in terms of technical work and in terms of the education itself. And today we've seen one such with this very interesting model that IIT Madras has pioneered. So, the challenge of quality graduates that are employable is one that has plagued us for a very long time. And here is probably a very, very nice and highly scalable way that we have seen with the IIT Madras model. And in all likelihood, this is going to succeed because it certainly looks very, very attractive, very sensible, and it's been through extremely well. And once we have this model in place, it should be possible to scale it across in a very, very big way. So, IITACB...
I want to add one thing.
Please.
Scaling is one thing, but actually there is the other end also where this model can serve very well. And that is for people who are interested in very niche areas where the quality gurus, teachers are available all, in a scattered way across the country. if you're interested in some aspect of ancient history or something, I mean, it's very hard to go to an institution where there's sufficient critical mass. Okay. But there may be easily 15 people in the country who can be that fantastic mentors and teachers. So you can put together programs, maybe only with 200, 250 people per year, right? But you can create expertise in very important areas using this model. It's not only for the high scale end actually. Okay.
Yeah.
It's also for the survival, to prevent something from going extinct. Survival end. Okay.
This has been wonderful. So, IITACB has been happy to host many of these talks and basically help bring innovation and productivity to Indian industry. All the wonderful work that is happening in the IITs, one of our missions is to make sure that the world knows about them. So we are very, very thankful to you, Bhaskar, for today's session.
Thank you. All the best. Thank you.
So I just want to summarize a few key takeaways from today's talk. One is the key words that we heard throughout this discussion were quality and employability. So the whole program is built around these two requirements. From a GER of 27% to 50% in 15 years cannot happen if we do not take a really disruptive view of how education at the graduate level can happen. And Bhaskar pointed out that today colleges are subcritical in terms of the infrastructure investment to the number of graduates that are being sensibly churned out. What we've heard today is about a huge game changer. It's online is a way of life, and this COVID thing has taught us that, and it has taught us that it can be extremely effective. Our webinars are an example. We have now been able to reach out to audiences way beyond Bangalore. We've been able to get speakers in who are way beyond Bangalore, and it's been an outstanding effort. So as coming back to the talk, in terms of delivery, the concerns of how we're going to maintain quality, etc. Super teachers with technical assistants teaching assistants who support them, and an army of really good and very linearly scalable was, I think, the term that Bhaskar used, mentors and tutors. The concept of a whole bunch of new businesses that are going to be required to make this model work are things like centers where quizzes and exams can be run, where mentoring and the physical face-to-face mentoring can happen, labs, and those labs have to be at scale and again have to be of a certain quality. Physical interaction centers for the students, because learning is also happens when students get together. And we know that through the years that we were really put through the paces in our different IITs. And I guess there will be other allied businesses that will arise as these kinds of programs scale. We've seen the inversion of the JEE entrance model, which allows anyone with an aspiration to join in. And then even if, those who do go through are going to be worthy of an IIT Madras degree and IIT degree, but those who are not able to, for whatever reason, still get a certificate or a diploma, and it will still help them with their careers and learning and so on. At least they would have tried, they would have been in the system, and that again is going to be valuable for those people. The other interesting concepts like making it self-paced, allowing for some lateral entry, and of course the internship, all of these make this whole package and this program sound extremely interesting. The fact that there is an industry advisory group also makes sure that this is relevant to the Indian industry. So this, I think, has opened the opportunity for improving also the overall quality of teachers across the country, because even if they are teachers who are not in the IIT system, if they are part of as mentors, are still going to be stretched and will therefore be able to up their own technical capability and their teaching ability. So from different aspects, this is a wonderful model, and we do look forward to seeing it, the first batch succeed, and then we look forward to scaling right across the country. So thank you very much, and also thanks to the audience who came up with some questions that has opened up the discussion and taken it broader. So thank you all, and Bhaskar, once again, thank you, and Ashok for moderating this discussion.
Thank you. Thank you. All the best. Happy Diwali.
Thank you.
Happy Diwali to everyone.